Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Digital Leadership Briefing. It is a series of webinars designed to introduce you as digital professionals to ideas, tools, and techniques that will help you strategize and execute. My name is Theo Paraskevopoulos, and I'm CEO at GrowCreate, a technology consultancy that specializes in digital experiences for Microsoft's Azure platform. In this webinar, we will discuss how to choose the right content management platform for your organization. How can you, as a digital leader, tell which system is the best fit for your team and for your strategy? Your choice of content management or digital experience platform can have a profound effect on your digital operations, on your team workflows, even in core business metrics. Conflicting priorities, licensing, scalability, governance, all these factors can make decision-making feel difficult. On this briefing, we aim to explore these factors and to help you decide with confidence. The briefing will last about 20 minutes and will split into two parts. In the first part, we will explore the current landscape for content management platforms and the typical drivers and criteria for selecting a new system. In the second part, we will dig into our two favorite systems, Umbraco, which is our open source system of choice, and Optimizely, our enterprise champion. We will discuss how they fit into different types of organizations and how they compare to their respective peers. To help me unpack it all, I'm joined today by our most senior content management experts. First of all, I will welcome Jeroen Wedeven, who is our GrowCreate CTO, and Mike Isaacs, who is our GrowCreate technical lead. Welcome, guys, to the call. Good to have you here.
Thanks.
Let's start, first of all, with you, Jeroen. And I'm asking this broad question about the general landscape of content management platforms. What does it look like in Q3 to 2025?
There's a couple of different CMSs. You have the more simpler kind of site builders like Wix and Squarespace and that kind of CMS systems. And then you're driving more towards the more professional systems where we are specialized in, like Umbraco, Optimizely. You see that both these vendors are also offering a SaaS product. They offer it a little different, one more related to more of a developer stack wise and one more to a marketeer kind of thing. So the proposition differs a little bit on the platforms, and therefore the target group as well. Yeah, I think that answers the question.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you. So just to bring it into the organizations at play here rather than the systems themselves. So I'm going to pass it to Mike and ask, what or when should an organization look to re-platform, that is to say, to migrate to a completely new solution, rather than keep what they have and just upgrade it? What's the thinking process in that area?
Yeah, I think regardless of architecture and platforms, over time, websites become bloated, whether it's different people, different content editors working in different ways, content changing over time. There will always get to a point where you have this content bloat and things aren't exactly clear on how the content is being managed or what's live at the moment. I think that's quite often a point where we see our clients get to, and that's the point where we start to talk about re-platforming, where we can have a real cleanup of their experience and their website and how it's portrayed to the front-facing public. At those points, re-platforming is a perfect opportunity. Not only can you hop onto the latest technology like Jeroen's just outlined, but you can also reassess how the CMS is behaving and acting for your content and make sure that it's in line with your current ambitions. Upgrading, is a smaller deal. If you're happy with how your CMS is performing, happy with how your site is presenting, and all your workflows and content editors are kind of happy with the current state, then an upgrade is also a great way to get onto a modern platform. But we always see it as an opportunity to freshen things up in terms of your back office experience as well as your front-facing website.
It's a very good point there. So let's assume here that an organization is faced with a choice and they've made a decision to pick a new platform, or they have got a new initiative, a new brand, and they're selecting a new platform for it. Diego, what are the key selection criteria for choosing a new platform? What should you be thinking about? Oh, you're mute, I think.
My apologies. Depends a lot of the time also a little bit on the maturity level that you're reaching with your platform or with your content management system or with your target. If you are more of an only presenting mode, then you are going to have different criteria, of course. Then you want to have a full-blown personalized platform. So these maturity requirements, or the maturity that you maybe already are in, are key drivers for your criteria for the platform you're going to choose.
Okay, and I'm sure that we're going to unpack that a little bit later on when we talk to the specific system. But that
yeah. So I
is
keep
actually
it for the
very
other
correct.
part.
Yeah, I thought you might be. Yeah, before we do that though, I'm gonna pass it on to Mike just once more to kind of just focus on the technology a little bit, because obviously it is a system, it is a technical decision you need to make. These things matter a lot. So, what would be, irrespective of the system that you pick, irrespective of the maturity of the company, what would be the optimal architecture when you're thinking about things like security and scalability for your solution?
Yeah, as your specialists, we lean heavily into the Microsoft infrastructure and ecosystem. Azure is fantastic in terms of hosting infrastructure and scalability. We do a whole range of hosting options that leverage, the different resources available through Microsoft. And working in the .NET ecosystem, it works natively with Azure, so that application through to hosting environment is really seamless. But also the pace at which .NET is moving at the moment is fantastic. Since they moved from .NET Framework to .NET Core, we're seeing yearly releases, security releases. It's all cutting edge stuff, and it's all performance focused as well. So you really get that security kind of baked in along with a very performant platform. Again, with scalability, some of the platforms that we look at specifically around Umbraco, being a composable kind of environment where you can bring your own tools to the party, really allows you to pick and choose what you're using at the right time and scale your digital presence in an appropriate way to your organization.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. And in fact, from my own experience of these systems, picking a system that is aligned with the platform that you use organization, in our case, Microsoft and Azure and the .NET ecosystem, is not just a technical consideration. I think it's also a cultural consideration. You have picked Microsoft or another one of the big tech superscalers platforms, if you like, to do that, and it will make an impact over here. But having chosen, the platform or the technology stack that you're going to work for, then another key consideration there is whether you're going to go for open source or a commercial system, a system where there is a community and that curates a system, or a system that is developed centrally and controlled centrally. As I mentioned in the beginning, our two platforms of choice for each one of these areas is Umbraco on the open source side, and then Optimizely the second one. So I want to start with Umbraco here. I want to stay with you, Mike, for a bit. And just if you can help us outline what type of organization is a good fit for Umbraco and therefore the open source world.
Sure. I think, as I kind of alluded to in my previous answer, it is very well suited to the scalability element that maybe a lot of the kind of smaller businesses may need. Huge aspect of it is it's open source and there's no license fee. That's going to have a huge appeal to that certain segment where you haven't got those yearly license fees to consider. It's just the development kind of costs that you need to find budget for. But we're increasingly seeing larger businesses, enterprise level businesses, considering Umbraco. And when I'm working with them, I can see real benefits to that composable nature. You've got a lot of different departments within larger organizations who all want to use their own tool sets, and getting everyone to collaborate in one platform can be a bit of a challenge when there's a lot of stakeholders, a lot of decision makers. So being able to, pick and choose best-in-class systems, whether that's your, CRM or in-house APIs, whatever systems you've got going, Umbraco can sit in the center of it all and provide the content for your website, but bring in all those different sources and all those different systems into this composable ecosystem that suits every department down to the ground.
Okay, that is something that obviously we have experimented a lot, and that's good to hear. But Umbraco is obviously not the only open source player in this arena, not even in the .NET ecosystem. How does it compete? What is its key strengths against its peers in the open source space?
Yeah, so I mean, the obvious examples of competitors would be, the PHP-based CMSs, whether that's WordPress or Drupal. There's a lot out there that have quite a similar approach in terms of extensibility, and you have your main core of the CMS, but you have plugins and extensions that bring different functionality to your site. The one huge benefit in my eyes, at least as a .NET developer, is Umbraco is within that .NET ecosystem, like we've said. You can rely on Microsoft's underlying framework with its security and performance, and the native hosting within Azure, which in my view kind of pushes it more into that enterprise area. The very kind of well thought out and well structured systems that do more than just web. So with .NET, you can build any kind of application you want, whereas PHP is far more web focused and in my view has a little less versatility to it. So it's that element of future proofing. When you're in the .NET ecosystem, when you're with a platform like Umbraco, really the sky's the limit. We can build any kind of integrations and other applications that your business may need.
All right, that's great. So at this stage, though, it's time to move up to the other side of the aisle, kind of look at the commercial system. I'm going to pass on the first question over to Jeroen, and just say, if open source comes with the benefit of being free, for example, then clearly there are organizations, because most companies, actually, most larger companies, pay license. They go for commercial CMSs. What type of organization is the best fit for a system like Optimizely?
Optimizely in particular is really centralized around the marketeer, where you hear Mike talking a lot about composable kind of architecture, being scalable in that perspective. Optimizely is much more a system where what's scalable for the marketeer, having top-notch AI kind of content generators, a very stable SaaS solution integrated with a project management kind of working with the CMP and the DAM systems in it. So it's a complete suite of doing all the things that a marketeer needs to do. In the proposition, it's less centralized around building stuff, but more about delivering for the marketeer. They call it themselves also a marketing operation system, so that you have everything needed as a centralized piece to connect with things that is already in the Optimizely landscape. Comes with the advantage of that everything can be hosted at their side, that they can make your life easier in that perspective, so that you don't have to do everything yourselves. Organizations looking more into that direction with a heavy, mature marketing focus, they look into a direction of Optimizely.
All right, that's totally clear. And to pass on the second question on that, obviously Optimizely is not the only commercial CMS. There's many systems also for the .NET ecosystem. How does it compete against and compare against its commercial peers? And what's a particular angle? What would you pick Optimizely against one of the other systems in that space?
Yeah, what you see is that a lot of these systems, also things like Contentful or other headless kind of platforms, are having a proposition rather technically based, like we are the best headless or we're the best database technique or best in integration kind of thing. Optimizely really focuses on this Optimizely One kind of system. So this operating system that they like to call it themselves. And because they have all these pieces in place, they can create real benefits from AI agent way of working, because they don't need to build connectors for everything, while you still can, of course, and you can still do custom development and scale with that, but it's more a suite of everything centralized again around the marketeer, and in that way it's positioned differently than the others in the in the landscape. So that's where they put themselves apart, so to say. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So to summarize this section, then, if I could ask both of you, start with Mike over here, how would you summarize in one sentence Umbraco's main strength?
One sentence, elevator pitch time. I think it's
Exactly.
the real focus for me, and the benefits of working with Umbraco as a developer is it provides a lightweight, extensible, performance-driven CMS with no excess, essentially, with nothing else. You get what you're given in terms of content management, and everything else is yours to kind of customize.
So, very good. Jeroen, the same thing for Optimizely?
I have 2 words: marketeers first.
Marketeers first.
Yeah.
Don't even need verbs to make a sentence. I love it. Fantastic. At this stage, I will ask attendees if you guys want to send us any questions you might have for our presenters today. In the meantime, I have got a couple of questions that are off the schedule. Let me know if you want to, if anything comes up. I'm going to throw it to both of you now, and in fact, this is something that anybody who has worked with me would expect now, because there is no conversation about technology these days without AI, right? Now we're doing, Jeroen, you mentioned quite a few things that Optimizely has already brought in terms of AI technology into the platform. Can you summarize them again, and then I'll pass it back on to Mike to see what we're doing with Umbraco and AI.
Yeah, it's especially within the CMP and the way how the headless CMS of Optimizely is built. It's strong on, for example, generating content, images, agentify stuff for the things a marketeer is usually doing. That I know that Opticon is coming at the end of this month, and that's heavily focusing on the AI part of Optimizely, and I expect to see new ways of thinking in the AI space in that perspective as well. That shows that they really like to be the first one fixing use cases in the AI space. So they are frontier in that perspective in the AI space from a marketeer perspective again. Yeah.
It definitely fits into the whole marketeer first story, doesn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Mike, we have been doing similar things on the previous webinar. We had James who showed us around the AI toolkit that we do. As it fits into today's discussion, can you summarize with us what we're doing with AI in the Umbraco space?
Yeah. So I think this is where the difference is very clear. Whereas Optimizely is bringing AI tools to the table for you. Umbraco is kind of maybe sitting back a little bit more. Us as an organization, as Grow Create, we're definitely not, and we are starting to build those extensions and tools to integrate with Umbraco. So we're bringing our own toolkit. So generative AI, whether it's text or image based, we've built a package for that works natively in Umbraco now. And we're thinking about both sides of the coin. So one is leveraging AI for content generation and for other reasons within the CMS, but the other side is making sure that your website can be understood by AI and starting to lean into that AI optimization. I very much of the view that SEO is what we used to focus on, and AI optimization is going to be the future. So making your website content legible to AI agents and crawlers is going to be key. So we've got a schema toolkit coming very, very soon that we're in beta testing for to help translate your content management into those schemas and structures that AI understand.
All right. Really good, really good. I'm gonna close off then if there are no more questions with something. Just looking back into the past a bit, we mentioned a couple of times on the webinar today about SaaS systems or about headless systems, and of course, Optimizely and Umbraco together they have offered SaaS or headless systems, and in the process we've had a number of systems emerge over the last probably 10, 15 years into this space. From your perspective, what impact have these systems made? How have they, if at all, have they moved the needle in terms of what the industry presents itself as? I mean, does it make any difference in that area? Mike?
Yeah, I'll jump in first. I think I mean, headless CMS has had a huge impact, and for a long time, we had a lot of people coming to us and saying, we've been taught, other agencies have said headless is the way to go, and it's fantastic. It's not inherently fantastic, I don't think. I think there is a definite use case for it, where you need different data sources and different integrations feeding into your front-facing website. And, it ties in quite nicely to that composable element. But I think we're now at the point where we can see the value of those different types of systems, whether it's SaaS or headless, and make genuine decisions as to whether they will benefit an organization as an approach, or whether it's just buzzwords. And there's a lot more balance now, I think, in terms of bringing it back around. There's still a lot of value in non-headless CMSs and the slightly more traditional approach.
Yeah, for sure. Jeroen, what is your take? Buzzwords or benefit?
If I have to choose, it's buzzword. But I think Mike explained it better in that perspective. There's room for both, and especially now, what you see is that CMS is not a goal on itself, and that it's part of a broader ICT strategy, either it's marketing or maybe even the whole company integration. Content is a part of it, and that's it has grown to another maturity level in the last 10 to 15 years. And in some architectures, it better fits a headless approach. In some, it better fits a what we call a traditional approach. And it's also a thing of waves. So you have now this headless waves, then you get this traditional wave, and then you get the headless wave again in another form. So it's also that's also how our world works. And the advice to customers of us is stay calm. Let us advise you to stay calm.
Very good, very good. That's a great way to close things off. I don't see any more questions coming in, so I think that I'm gonna pass on my thanks to you guys. I'm gonna thank also everyone who attended the digital leadership briefing today. We hope that you all gained a deeper understanding of what drives content platform selection and how you can make the best choice for your organization, your needs, for your strategy. If you're interested, in implementing or supporting a solution with Umbraco or Optimizely or broader Azure platform, by all means, reach out to us directly or schedule a meeting on our website. Once again, many thanks to my co-presenters. Many thanks for your time, and we'll see you again on the next briefing. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.